Welcome to Landria Anka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears, to live the beautiful, awesome life that's available right now. The only thing between you and that is fear. Because if you looked at everything in a very positive manner, fear, elimination, there's nothing between you and total manifestation. So, oh my gosh, I've got so many subjects I want to share with you, and I'm going to do a series of videos, as I always do. I want to share something with you right now, and that is, you can eliminate fear completely and totally change how you think of everything. Now, I just did this a couple days ago, and I thought, what if I absolutely did not choose to go in any kind of fearful mode? You got to remember, it's never going to go away. So no matter how enlightened you are, there will be the human experience and feelings that will creep in. That's part of what we're going to experience here, is to experience the joys, the highs, the lows. So there are fears that come in because it's part of the collective consciousness, the inherited energy of the generations, the millions and millions of people before us. That's all part of who we are, because we are one thing, and all of that energy is with us. And part of our choices and pathways along there have connected us to those past life choices and the people we've connected with and all those things, which will resonate more with us in our personal experience, right? So you might have a different type of energy with you than I, because part of our free will is choosing those things along the way, whether we go to the fear, whether we go to the joy, whatever it is we do. And then as individual choices, we of course eventually will all go back to the one. So I want you to remember that. We are all going back to the one. We're all going back in. It was, then it's back in. Not back into the singularity necessarily. Actually, it's back into even greater expansion, because when you have no fear, you expand greatly. Now, I shared a story with you just recently. I just got back from the beach. I go wherever I want. I have an internet business. You guys see this pop out all the time. You can explore it. Free internet training videos tells you how it's done. It's not the training itself. All right? You have to pay for that. Yeah, I'm sorry. You don't go to Harvard for free, right? So it's a very serious training system, and I live this really awesome, beautiful life where somebody says, let's go someplace. I'm like, yeah. I got my phone, I bring my Mac with me, and then I shoot videos. It's an awesome, awesome life. I've chosen this. I've made choices along the way. What did that require? It required breaking through some fear, because a lot of the time we don't go into that unknown zone of things we really want, because there's fear involved with change. That alone, if we eliminated that fear alone, we'd be doing all kinds of things, right? Now, so fear does have some kind of a protection system that stops us from, bungee jumping every day, or I don't know, that can be dangerous, or doing a lot of things. But that's not bad. Even going into those dangerous zones isn't bad if that's what you choose. But fear can have a positive mechanism in there that stops us from doing things that could be harmful, right? It gets us to think twice. But the problem with human beings is we keep thinking and thinking and thinking and going, well, this is how things have been. So there's fear into that unknown of failure, or God forbid you succeed, or all of the things that come with that. And that's just this overthinking and the fears. So in order for me to live this life that I do, which continually expands, it gets this mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. My next video I'm going to share some awesome stuff with you. But the reason I'm able to do this is because I'm okay with feeling uncomfortable. I'm okay with seeing the fear and still doing what I want to accomplish anyways. I'm okay with being in that zone, because the other choice is to be in fear and staying where you are. So you don't eliminate the fear, because now you have all these fears of what you're not going to have and not living the life you want, but you're staying where, you're uncomfortable, but you're familiar with that. Does this make sense? So I'm okay with going past the fear and actually experiencing it, but I'm not giving it power. I'm not allowing it to stop me from going after what I want. So you may be thinking, well, this isn't right for me to go after that dream, that relationship, that job, that money, whatever it is, because I'm feeling fear. And that's my body telling me that I shouldn't do it. No, that's not true at all. In fact, that will probably never go away. In fact, it's a motivator. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is an experience. That's all it is. If you experience it, what if we took fear and we looked at it completely different? Not as something that we fight, that we don't want to feel, or if we feel it, it stops us from doing things. What if we took it and used it as this really positive mechanism that we have, that's a reminder of the history of things that have stopped people from doing awesome stuff? Saying, okay, ooh, that's an old mechanism that's, kicking in. Me being familiar with not having money and fearful to try anything because I'm familiar with being broke. That's not true fear. That is just really the ego hanging on to that and being fearful to go outside of its comfort zone of being broke. What if you looked at fear differently and said, this is my awesome mechanism that stops me from maybe taking things too extreme and allowing me to think things through a little bit. So when you feel the fear, you sit with it and you go, oh, this is like a cool human experience. I'm not really going to use it as something that stops me anymore. I'm going to look at fear and say, wow, it's sort of exhilarating to go through and go after my dreams and still experience this, but know that it's just the human way of saying, here, the material world has this and this and this and this all going on, and you have to examine it. That's all it is. It's very material based. Fear is material world based. It's a density. Because if you go past fear, you're more connected to your spirit and your invincibility, and the fear takes a back seat. So when you connect to your greater self, the fear will be here, and you're going to be out here in this beautiful big space, and the fear all of a sudden will take a completely different meaning. It'll have a totally different meaning for you. And that's where I am. I actually realized I sort of don't have it anymore. Because I don't feel it like it used to feel. It doesn't paralyze me anymore. I actually see it sort of like as something really interesting that shows up once in a while, and I know what it's connected to. It's connected to, old patterns or old habits or things I've been told. Sorry, I have my door open because it's so gorgeous today. It's the end of October here in Atlanta. It's so beautiful. My favorite time of year. I'm going to have to go for a run. It's beautiful out. Fear. Wow. It's just, I want you to think about how awesome it is to experience this, because we don't get to experience that on the other side. When we we transition to our spirit body, it's like, wow, what? And you're going to look at your life. You'll have a life where you're going to go, that's fascinating that this one emotion, actually, I allowed it to control all of these things that were happening. I allowed it to stop me from going after that relationship, stop me from making that speech, stop me from being a teacher or spiritual teacher, stop me from being a wealthy person who could, with money, do wonderful things. You're going to look at that and go, that one emotion stopped me from living this incredible life. Isn't that a weird way to look at it? A strange concept. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. An emotion stopped me from expanding and going after my dreams and being things. Fear of what other people would think of me. Fear of failing so that, people would say, see, I told you so. Fear of going outside my comfort zone because I'm used to being broke or used to being happy in relationships. Fear of actually going after somebody who treats you decent, for God's sake. What's that? What's up with that? I can't relate. I had a great dad, so I like to be around awesome people. But you may not have experienced that, so you're gravitating toward the other thing. And the fear is going outside of what you know. That's all it is. It's going outside of what you know, not what's good or bad for you. Fear is comfort zone, right? It's going into the lion's den. We have information, so we have these assumptions. So there, like I said, are some protection systems in there. Lions probably will eat me. It might be a trained lion that loves you. You don't know, but now we have this mechanism that helps us. Are you going to use it now for something really awesome? Can we stop being fearful? Do you know if we eliminated fear, this entire world would be at total peace? Think about this. Why would you ever pick up a gun? You could say, well, that's hate. No, that's fear. That's fear. People do it because they're afraid of losing stuff. They're afraid of losing their power. They're afraid of all. There's fear, which is all ego-based. It's all part of the same power energy that hangs with you. Ego is fear. If we had no fear, we would not have alarms on our cars. We would not worry about losing things. If somebody took something, I got tested. I got tested this weekend. I bought these really expensive sunglasses. I actually did a video on them when I was in New York, and I wore them. I told you guys that I spent a lot of money on these sunglasses because I really wanted them, and I just stopped thinking about that stuff anymore. And I really love them because I bought them in Gramercy Park, and I have an emotion, I have an experience related to the sunglasses. They have sort of a fun meaning to me. It's not just a material item to me, it's an experience. I remember going there with my friend. We had a blast. It was a wonderful experience because I usually work in New York. And this time I just had fun. So I go on vacation and I lost my sunglasses this weekend. And I went, shoot. And I said to my friend, the only thing I really care about is the fact that I remember I bought those in Gramercy Park, and that was a cool experience. And she said, yeah, darn. And I said, oh, well. And it was gone. And I realized I was not attached to the material items anymore. That there pretty much was nothing I could lose that I had an attachment to. It's just really desire and comfort, right? They're things we really enjoy and like, of course. But the attachment was gone. See, I had to lose something that I really cared about that had some kind of a memory to it. And I went up to the waitress at the restaurant and she said, no, nothing's here. And I said, okay, I released it. So before we went out to dinner, I said, I'm just going to stop in and check back. And sure enough, I walked up to the reception, and there were my sunglasses sitting there. Some nice person not only turned them in, but the people behind the desk had them sitting there waiting for me. They didn't know it was mine. God, he scares the heck out of me when he does that. Fear, right? So that's that. That's that fear kicks in. You got to go with it. You got to roll with it and go, oh, I'm experiencing it, but okay, let's check this out. Now, I had a dream the other night I want to share with you, and I shared this in a video. I was in the water, and it was really murky in a lake with a friend, and there was a cave right next to us, and it was loaded with huge snakes. That is one of my fears. I don't dislike snakes, but I just don't want to be around them. They're so unpredictable to me, right? And we were so close, and I was not afraid of them. I'm not particularly fond of them. They look a little scary. But I pulled my friend away because she didn't see that behind her were all these snakes. And then we swam underwater, and this huge snake came right by me. And I took my hand and I pushed him away because he was getting really close. And he just sort of moved over and kept going. And I realized that dream was showing me that I had overcome my fears. That I am now at that place where I have overcome my fears. I'm swimming in murky water where you can't see with a huge snake, and there was no fear. There was sort of a, okay, I'm not real fond of this guy, but I actually touched him and pushed him, gave him a little push away to move him on his way. I was moving that fear away. I was okay with touching it and pushing it away and moving it away and not battling it or being angry with it or go, ah. I was looking at it going, okay, here it is. Push it. Almost like a friend. You know, it's not an attractive friend, but you move it along and you go, okay, you're there. And you're not gonna obstruct my way anymore. It was so interesting. I realized that was so obvious what that dream meant. And I protected my friend from that. So I saw it there and I pulled my friend away. I was okay with getting close to those snakes to get my friend away so that they didn't get afraid. So there's a protection thing. I'm able to actually protect in some ways. So I feel like I've gotten to this place where fear has completely different meaning, and it can for you. Can you look at right now and say, of course you're probably feeling some fear, right? Is there some fear? Even with death or all these other things, or losing a loved one, there's so much involved. Money and jobs are the biggest fear. Not being able to have the things you want. That's the material world. When you release it, stuff shows up. By the way, I lost something else. I had another item, got tested right after that. I had a piece, little leather and silver bracelet that I bought because it had the peace sign. Another memento of an art fair, so I associated it with something that had an event behind it, a nice memory, not just a nice item that I could go replace. I couldn't. It had a memory attached to it. And I released that too, and I said, oh my gosh, it's gone. Bummer, okay. And then I got home, it was in my purse. It fell off my hand into my purse. And then I was like, joyful and grateful that I got it back. So these things are happening right now to say, okay, where are you? And almost demonstrating to me that you have detached. You have become friends with fear. You're looking at it differently. It's still there. You're swimming with the snakes, but they're no longer a threat to you. And this, my friend, is such a huge breakthrough for you. If you can take your fear and say, I embrace you. You have no control over me. There's nothing to fear. What is it I'm truly afraid of? I'm in that situation right now. I'm in it and I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still functioning. And look at all the probabilities and the possibilities right here to change the thing I don't like that I'm fearful of. What if I stopped being afraid and said, thank you for placing me in this situation, this opportunity, because I can have anything. You can have anything. I'm manifesting like crazy right now. And that's my next video. We're going into something right now. We're in it. I told you we're going into it. We're in it now. It's so huge you could think of something and it'll appear. Seriously, you think of something and it can show up quickly. I told you, I mentioned to you guys Hey, if you have no money, you won't want to go on a trip. What if somebody calls you and says, I got this great trip, my other friend's not going, it's all paid for, you can come, you just have to get there. Guess what? 2 days later, a friend of mine calls me and says, I have this Caribbean cruise, all expenses paid, balcony and everything, great cabin. My friend canceled on me. It's all paid. I want you to go with me. You don't owe me a cent. Just get there. It happened to me 2 days after I mentioned it to you. I just happened to use it as a random example. When you stop fearing, I won't get the vacation, I won't have the money to do this. When you let it go, you go, oh my God, well, what the universe brought me. It's so awesome. Yay. What's next? What's next? This is great. You know, health, and maybe you want some beautiful things for friends of yours, or, you know, you wish somebody well. Oh my gosh, my friend, this fear thing, release it. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. And the entire planet will change. You just have to do one person, and that's you. All right, I know this is a long video, but I'm so excited about this because I've shifted so greatly in this area, and that dream showed me. It was so telling. By the way, the person in the boat while I was in the water was my dad. You know, my dad died, right? He was in the boat. Isn't that sweet? So I had my protector there. I could have climbed in that boat, but I didn't. I stayed in that water with that snake. You can too. It won't bite. It has no power over you. It's a protection system. Understand that, be friends with it, and know that you're changing the rules of the game now. You have choice. You always have. You have choice. You have every probability. What do you want to change right now? That fear you have, let's change your circumstances right now. You get to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it in the next video. That and the other 1,000 videos I've shot for you. You are whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Just welcome it. Bless you, my friend. Sending you joy, abundance, health, wealth, and happiness. Namaste.